Question 33. As you can see, tunaendelea na calculus. And this is the last question nafanya calculus. Kama utakuwa na swali yako, unaweza leta, tunaifanya. Inasema hivi, ama the question asked, a curve is represented by a function y is equals to 1 over 3x cubed plus x squared minus 3x plus 2. First question, the part A, the first part, find dy dx. Part B, determine the value of y at the turning point of the curve and sketch the curve. So that is a question from Made Familiar. That is a question from Made Familiar. Then so we continue to the explanation part now. You want to do that question. Make sure you are attentive, and if you have a question you can ask. Okay, so find dy dx. So we know dy dx. So dy dx, the same as source. They want us to find what? To differentiate. So they want us to differentiate that equation. So we are going to differentiate the equation about kona hapa juu, y is equals to 1 over 3 cubed plus x squared minus 3x plus 2. So dy dx is going to be, so we are going to differentiate this. So itakuwa 1 over 3. Tulisema kawaida when you are differentiating, the power inakujanga hapa mbele, ama you pre-multiply, ama you multiply with the coefficient, and then you reduce the power. So 1 over 3 times 3, and then x 3 power minus 1, and then plus 2x 2 minus 1 minus 3 times 1 x 1 minus 1. So 2 does not have any unknown, therefore we are not going to differentiate. We don't differentiate a constant. So when you simplify this, itakuwa x squared plus 2x power 1 minus, then 3 times 1, so x power 1 minus, so we have 1 minus 1 minus 1 is what? 0. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So x power 0, laws of indices, x power 0, any number or any unknown power 0 is equals to 1. Therefore, it's going to be 3 times 1, which is 3. Therefore, dy dx is equals to x squared plus 2x minus 3. That's the answer. So let's go to B. There is something they ask. B wanauliza, find the turning point. The turning point. I think that question, ama the turning point, najua ndio inaweza kuwa challenging kiasi kwako. So turning point, I think you have been told. Kama hujaambiwa, if this is the first time, I think I'm going to explain to you what is turning point. So turning point simply means a point where the curve either move upwards or downwards. It is a point where the curve either move upward or downwards. For example, if you have a curve which is curving downwards, so this is the turning point. When you have another curve which is moving upwards, this is the turning point. So the turning point is where is a point at a curve, is a point at a curve where the curve does what? Either moves upward or down, ama a point where the curve either curves downwards or upwards. So to find the turning point of a curve, so you differentiate. So turning point of a curve is a point where the curve turns. So to find turning point, the first differentiation, or the first differentiation of the equation gives us 0. So at turning point, dy dx is equals to 0. At turning point, dy dx is equals to 0. And we know dy dx tunajua ni x squared plus 2x minus 3. Therefore, 0 is equals to x squared plus 2x minus 3. Since we have said that at turning point, the differentiation of that equation should always be equals to what? To 0. Therefore, so we want to find the value of x, and we have the, as you can see, we have a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation, you can use 3 methods. You can either use factorization, you can use the quadratic formula, completing square method, or what do you have? The other one is what? The graphical method, use of graphs. But for now, since this is a small equation, you can simply use a quadratic equation. So the complete square is x squared plus 2x minus 3 is equals to 0. Let's try factorization. So factorization, we know sum is equals to 2 product is equals to -3. Think of a number, when you multiply you get -3, when you add you get 2. Think of a number, when you add you get 2, when you multiply you get -3. I think that number we all know. That number is what? Is equals to 3 and -1. 3 and -1. 3 and -1. 3 and -1. Because 3 times -1 is -3. 3 plus -1 is 2. Therefore, the solution, we have x plus 3, x minus 1 is equals to 0, which means what? X is equals to what? Is equals to -3 or +1. So the turning point of that curve is x is equals to -3 or 1. But now they want us to find what? They want us to find the value of y. So we have the value of x, isn't it so? We have the value of y. So to find the value of x, you simply replace in the equation. We know the equation y is equals to 1 over 3 into x cubed plus x squared minus 3x plus 2. So replace x with either -3 or 1. Either -3 or 1. So either -3 or 1. So we are going to get what? 1 over 3 into, let's start with -3 into 1 cubed plus 1 squared minus 3 into 1 plus 2. By that, we have replaced by 1, and then you can use a calculator to get the answer, to get the value of y. Now that is the turning point. That is the turning point of that curve. But if they ask you the turning point, simply you can leave what? You answer as -3 and 1. But if they want, for this example, they were asking for y, so you replace to get the y. But if they did not ask you, if they did not ask you to find y, you can simply end at this point by finding x equals -3. So in short, let me repeat. In mathematics, you don't have to get the answer. That is all supposed to understand. In mathematics, the most important thing is the steps. So understand the steps. Answer has only 1 mark. So if you can be able to move until this position, you have like what? It was a 4-mark question. It had 4 marks. You can get 3.5. Just imagine. Since the answer has only half a mark, sometimes 1, but the most important is the steps. So let me first give a preview of what I've said. So to find the turning point, dy dx is equals to 0, or the integration is equals to 0. Not the integration, but the differentiation is equals to 0. Therefore, after differentiating the first part, which was, I think, the first part, dy dx, you take that equation is equals to 0, and then you find the value of x. That is the turning point. But if they ask you to find the value of y, you replace. And that is the end of that question on turning point.